Well, hello, friends, and welcome to a Time to Speak podcast, where we open up the conversation about the aftermath of abortion, give voice to unspoken grief and loss, honor our babies in heaven, and advocate for life and the preborn. Through powerful stories and heartfelt conversations, we create space to navigate this deeply personal journey together, offering support and the kind of encouragement that helps you move forward. Each episode is a step towards hope as we walk alongside you, reminding you that you're loved and never alone. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the 2026 season of A Time to Speak podcast. We've got a great guest for you today. We're super excited to tell you how we met. And yes, go ahead and read her introduction, Frank, and let's get going.
We're so excited to have Michelle with us on today's podcast. Michelle Thomas is an abortion recovery facilitator, and she has the privilege of working alongside those impacted by abortion. And she works with the global ministry SaveOne, founded by Sheila Harper. SaveOne helps men, women, and family members recover after abortion. Michelle is passionate about helping the local church see how they can address abortion in a compassionate way so those hurting may find hope and healing. Michelle lives in Ontario, Canada, with her husband of 26 years and her 4 adult children. Welcome to the podcast, Michelle. So glad to have you.
Well, welcome, Michelle. What a great honor to have you on the podcast today. That's so cool.
Thank you both for this opportunity. I can't believe that I'm here with both of you today.
That's how we felt when we met. And so, I don't know, we're just like, thank you, Jesus, for this great, awesome, divine appointment and connecting us with Michelle. It's just been really a blessing to get to know you, Michelle. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Frank had an introduction. You've been married for 26 years.
Correct. I live in Mississauga, Ontario, and I'm the wife of my husband for 26 years.
Oh my gosh.
I'm passionate about abortion recovery. I love the ministry that I'm working with, and I just love hearing God's story of hope and healing in everyone. And Polly, your story and how God uses your talent has just impacted me. So I love the way God uses something that should have took all of us out and makes a message out of it of hope and healing for men, women, and everyone.
Yes. Yeah, totally. It is pretty amazing when you see when you're on the other side of something, such a terrible decision, that how God can turn things around, and it's, his scriptures are true.
Yes. Amen.
And so okay, you're in the area, my geography is not the best, but you're in the area that, would you be considered like over the New York area? Because you're East Coast time. So are you over New York area on that side of the country?
I believe so, your area, but yes, I'm Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. My geography isn't the greatest either. My husband would be having to be the one to help me through that question. But yeah, Toronto, Ontario. Most people know Canada.
That's definitely East Coast.
Yes, Toronto, Ontario. Yeah.
Toronto, Ontario. Okay, good. Because we could hear the actual city that you're from, and we're like, huh, where's that?
Yes,
but if you say Toronto, okay, people have a clue that are a little clueless like me, location and stuff like that. So that's awesome. Wow. Can you imagine? Well, the reason why I wanted to have you as our first guest for the 2026 season of our podcast, Michelle, is because you were the first person to respond to the invitation when I threw it out, when I just cast the net, saying, okay, Lord, you gave me this idea. Let's see what happens. And I cast that net out 2 years ago, and you were the first person to respond, to actually get your letter in. And your piece was the first piece that I created 2 years ago.
Oh,
And
wow.
tell me what it was that
Mm.
caught your interest about the tribute project back then. What was it that like your ears just in your heart responded and said, I want to participate. What was it about that?
I feel like further healing, but also the art aspect. Like when I was a young girl, I used to love art and creating, and it just intrigued me that the Lord used your talent through your story and just birthed this project, which is beautiful. And um, as a post-abortive woman, that other piece of healing is so important. Recognizing our children, bringing dignity to their name is, I
Yeah,
didn't know at first how important that is, but your
yeah,
project helped me to see that I can bring the life of that child through such a beautiful expression.
yeah,
And I know the Lord was in that. Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, Michelle, for sharing that. And I guess for some of the viewers that don't know about our project, the Tribute Project is an opportunity for people who have been hurt by abortion to write a letter to their baby in heaven. Some people want to write a letter to God about their baby in heaven, and that's totally fine. But what you do is you write that letter. I'm saying it casually, but I know it's a difficult process for some people. And even if you've written a letter before to write it again years later, that might be a little challenging too, but it's okay. God's with you the entire time. But what you would do is write that letter, send it to us, and then I do an original painting based on your words. And that's how the process begins. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. All the details are on our website. But let's start from the beginning, Michelle. If you're comfortable, share a little bit about your testimony.
Sure. You know what? I grew up not in a Christian home. Like so many young people, I was lost in this world, didn't know that I was lost, just going with the flow. Decided early to have sex early, not knowing the consequences of it. I was with a young man that I was committed to. You know, everyone in my circles, this is just the lifestyle they were living, and I was living it, not knowing that it would have consequences
Yeah.
to it. I was
Mhm.
in a relationship for a very long time, and then I found myself pregnant when I was just about to finish university. Now, everyone thinks it won't happen to them, but it did. And I was terrified. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was afraid for my future. The unknown was crippling me, basically. But I went to that young man and I told him, you know what? I'm pregnant. And that young man told me, you know what, Michelle, maybe you can have an abortion. And I didn't know how that would affect me. Years later, I realized that that statement did affect me. But you know what? I want you to know young men go through the same things that us young women go through. He was terrified. You know what? And he was actually considering my feelings because I was in school and I was so um, programmed to do my work, do it well. So he said that, I think, out of caring for me,
Yeah.
but he later changed his mind. And I want you to know that he changed his mind. He said, you know what, Michelle, we can do this. We got this. We can do this together because we were in a committed relationship. We cared about one another. My biggest fear, Polly and Frank, was going home to my parents. And that young man, though he was afraid too, he decided to come with me. It's
Wow.
there, everything changed for me. My parents were really disappointed. I saw my dad cry for the first time. I saw my mom pace the floor. They didn't know how I was going to get through school and have this baby. And in that moment, that's when things changed for me. Even though I had this young man's support, I pushed down everything that I knew that was true, that he loved me, that we could do this because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. I didn't want to disappoint my parents. I thought I needed to control this situation. So quickly, the culture started speaking to me. Oh, this is my body. This is my choice. I clearly thought I needed to take control of that. situation. So I started heading towards abortion, thinking it was a quick fix.
Yeah.
And I had that abortion back in 1996, and I was never the same again. But this is where the Lord comes into our situation. That young man in 1996 gave his life to Jesus Christ. That
Wow.
changed both of us. I saw this young man. I haven't even expressed how much this young man was trying to fight for the life of his child,
Oh, wow.
and he fighting for the life of me because he knew what it was going to do to me as well
Yeah.
too. But that's when God came into our mess. 1996, I had that abortion, but 1996 is the day that young man gave his life to Christ. And when he gave his life to Christ, I saw that there was something different in him. And I wanted to know this Jesus that he
Uh-huh.
knew. And in 1997, I gave my life to Christ as well too.
Wow.
So I know that there's a God in heaven who loves us even when he sees us in our sin and even when we've made terrible mistakes. So
Right.
I want you to know that that abortion didn't only hurt me, it hurt that young man and a
Yeah.
child as well too.
Yeah.
We stayed together through it all. In 1999 we were married. And I know that's only God's grace because here in Canada, 98% of couples don't stay together. And
Right.
we weathered the storm, but we had our battles to face. We were a young couple in marriage, not knowing that the underlying issues we had were that abortion in our marriage. And my
Mm.
husband had such a difficult time forgiving my parents because he really thought my parents were the source of my decision. But you know, I had to take responsibility for my decision as well. So there was such a back and forth with their relationship too, which should have been like a healthy relationship. There was like so many lives touched by that
Yeah.
choice.
Oh my gosh. So Michelle, just to be clear,
Yeah.
the young man that you were talking about in your college days, that's your now husband of
Amen.
26
Yes, it
years?
is. It's 26 years,
Oh my
Polly.
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness. Wow.
That
Oh
is
gosh.
that's a very it's an amazing testimony.
Mhm.
And it reminds me, Michelle, of all the different circumstances and all the different parts of that circumstance that are so unique to yours, but similar to others with different variations. And I think this is really going to be so helpful to women and to men um, because they're all the situations are so different and you being so honest and transparent and forthright in the way everything transpired is going to help so many people. It's just really awesome that
Yeah.
you're sharing that, Michelle.
Yeah.
Thank you, Frank.
And what a blessing that your husband was a man of integrity
Yeah,
and continues to be. I mean, I think that's amazing. And yeah, I think sometimes when there's things starting to happen, nobody ever thinks about the past mistake, the abortion that happened,
Yeah.
that could be a contributing factor in things. And we know from the research and studies that are done and testimonies mostly of people that we know and speak to in this line of work that we do, that that's something that comes up over and over again. And we just are thankful for studies like SaveOne and
yeah,
healing ministries that are open their arms to help people who are in this type of situation or have experienced this type of loss through abortion. So thank you for sharing that powerful testimony, Michelle. I
No
think
problem.
I think the best news is that that is your husband today and that you guys
Mhm.
worked through it and God's hand was a constant throughout the years. And I think that's just really amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. I couldn't do this life without him. Couldn't do this life without him. Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Wow.
Just hearing
Um,
this story of just example after example, this is another one of God being present always. And no matter how messy it is for us, He is right there, holding us up. Um,
yeah,
that's what I just getting from that is just He's always there holding us up.
yeah,
Amen. Amen,
yes,
Frank. Yeah.
yeah. What an awesome model your husband must be for the work that you're doing. Tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing through Save One, Michelle. Are you doing it through your church, or how does that work?
So basically, I am a staff member of Save One, but on the website, we're chapters. So I started as a chapter leader here in my local city. So if you go to the website, you look under Mississauga, Ontario, or you'll find chapters in your local area. So you can become a chapter in your local area. So if men and women who are needing help can reach out to Save One and find a chapter if they need help. But also, my church, my local church is a chapter. So I have done the
Wow.
Bible study in my local church as well too.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Yes, I want to explore that a little further because sometimes people are like, well, how do we get this in our church? And if you can kind of share about your process, was it the church that reached out to Save One and said, we want to do this? And wow, we just so happen to have this amazing woman, Michelle, that is a facilitator. And tell us how it works through the church. And are people really willing to come to the study from the church because sometimes people are like, I don't want anyone to know in my church that I'm going to this study. So if you could speak about that a little bit so that people can kind of get an idea of what it's like and the safe environment that's created to receive men and women who have had this in their past.
Sure. I actually had a burden because I know what the Lord has done in my life and how
Mhm.
his word transformed me. So I went to my pastor and told him about the Bible study and what Save One is doing across nations. And I just said, you know what? The men and women are out there. We just need to be a voice for them. So
Yeah.
I just, just like, every fall churches do new groups and stuff. So I
Hmm.
basically hosted this group just 2024. We started our first group in my local church.
Hmm.
And the women came, but again, this year I found, like you said, Polly, we have to create a safe environment so they
Right.
feel, whether that's where the church, the group is located within the church, just that they feel safe. And you know what?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're on the other side of this, you forget how much courage it takes for a woman or a man to come forward and say, "This is in my past, and I need
That's
to
right.
lay this down." So, in the church. Uh, we should be cultivating an atmosphere of community and compassion. But I also know that we just have to create a safe environment so they feel safe. But many of them, when they see it listed, say, Michelle, I didn't know church would discuss something like this. They were happy to see it, even though it's difficult to come forward. They were just happy that the church had listed this type of
Right.
group in their community.
Yeah.
Right. Wow, that's
That's
awesome.
huge.
And I think that is the strong point of the ministry you're serving with Save One is that they are out in the churches talking to pastors, inviting them, opening the invitation to have a group like this or a chapter in their congregation. And I think that's what they do so well. And I think that's encouraging for people who are wanting to start something within their own church that it's very easy. Yes, your pastor has a lot on his plate or her plate, but you can help make it easy by just stepping up and saying, don't worry about it. There's something that we can do. We have all the training that anybody needs, and let's get started.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and, and to Michelle's point, I think that the folks that are going to church that have that in their past, Um, I just got to imagine the sense of relief, like, wow, they're offering this. That means I'm not the only one that's carrying this. There are other people that are carrying this too. And it brings a sense of that relief and comfort of, even though it's a very difficult thing, of course, for the first time on taking that step,
Yeah.
but just knowing that the door is open for that. That is a
Mhm.
big deal, because if the church isn't talking about it and isn't offering healing from that, I think it can make people feel even more isolated. So what you're doing with Save One is really incredible. It's so important. It's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
And
think,
would you, oh,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, do you find that the pastor is feeling like, wow, okay, I'd love to do this, and somebody is willing to take that role and sort of carry that burden so that the pastor is not having to. Of course, they oversee it, but do you find that it's that they're feeling, the pastors are feeling, this is awesome and I want to support this. I don't have, the time to invest in it myself or maybe even the experience, but this person is, and they're more willing to say yes to that sort of opportunity?
I think there's still work to be done within the church community where you always have your accountability of your pastor. That's what Sheila always stresses to us, have the
Yeah.
accountability of your pastor. But I feel like what we have here in Canada is the struggle between upholding life and giving healing and help to these men and women. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to challenge pastors to see you can do both. You can uphold life, that every life is God given, but
Mhm.
those people that are wounded still need the healing power of Jesus. So, how we talk about both is so important. We
Right.
want to uphold life. So many of us who've had this in our past want to say, you know what, yes, I made a mistake. That was God's life. But you also want to be able to speak truth to the one who's already done it and given them permission to get the help they need.
Yes.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Wow. Well, yeah, so we talked a little bit about oh, and by the way, let me just give a shout out to Jack and Sheila and Save One. This is the book that they use for their ministry. And it's amazing. And of course, I've been giving a shout out about this book too, Where Hope Lives, because this is Sheila's newest book. And it's for those who have experienced miscarriage. And sometimes we come across people who have had not only an abortion, but also a miscarriage too, throughout those years when they were in childbearing years. And so I like to bring that up because we have a couple of people that I did art pieces for where they said, would it be okay if this piece represents the baby that was miscarried?
Mhm.
And of course, we say yes. So we do one art piece, and it could be for any children that were miscarried or any type of reproductive loss. So I just kind of want to put that out there. But just know that if you are in that situation and you're still looking for some healing in regards to the miscarriage, that this book is really awesome, and it's by Sheila
Mhm.
Harper. You can purchase it through Save One website, and it's saveone.org. Is that right?
Correct.
Michelle?
Yes.
SaveOne.org.
SaveOne.org. Yes.
Yeah, and I'll put those resources on the show notes so that if anybody is interested, they could follow up with that and get their books. So yes, let me talk about a little bit in regards to the letter. So the letter is the big piece that starts things rolling, as far as I'm concerned, because I those letters, those words is what inspires the artwork. So, lots of times people that we come across say, "Oh, I've already written a letter a long time ago," or, you know, what do I have to say now? But tell us a little bit about what your experience was like You went through Save One, is that right, Michelle? Or did you go through another healing study?
Actually, I went through a healing study. It was actually Forgiven and Set Free that I went through.
Oh, yes. Okay, got it. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful study too. So for instance, I think that is week, I forget what week that is where you write your letter. Not all Bible studies have the opportunity to write a letter. And so if you want more information about that, I know that Save One does. I think you guys do this in week 9, maybe?
Yes, chapter 9. Yeah.
Yeah, chapter 9. You do the Bible st or the handwritten letter. But if your study that you're going through doesn't offer that, or maybe you're in the beginning where maybe writing the letter is your first step, and we would follow up with that and say, yes, you are welcome to write your letter, even though you've not been through a study before. And we view it as an opportunity to plant a seed because we'll
Right.
follow up with, here's a study that when you're ready to go deeper, and really just kind of dive in from A to Z, um, anger through acceptance, that you have a resource available and we can share that
Right.
with you. So if you're in that position, you're welcome to write a letter, and we're praying that that's your first step, and God's going to be with you the whole way. But if you
Yes.
can share about what that was like for you, Michelle, to just write this letter to your baby in heaven, to Christopher, and I have his art piece right back there.
Mhm.
Um, what that was like to write your letter to Christopher all these years later, after you had that abortion. What was that like for you?
You know what, Polly, I think when I first went through this study, Forgiven and Set Free, I didn't realize how important doing something special was. So later, when I became a part of a pregnancy care center, saw memorials and stuff, I saw the need for it. So doing this letter, it just went deeper, like a deeper level of healing.
Yeah,
Um, and it was nice to reflect on Christopher's life at this stage of life. So
yeah,
back when I did the letter or the process before, it was just a deeper sense of healing, and
yeah,
it just brings for me, like, I can embrace his life.
yeah.
Early, when you first have your abortion, you're not thinking about this child, but
That's
I
right.
can embrace this life, and I've
Mhm.
had the privilege to tell my children about Christopher. So now he's a part of our family, like, and it just
Right.
it just a deeper reflection, I
Yeah,
believe.
Wow.
yeah, yeah. I experienced something similar, and I to write that letter, a second time, it was like, wow, some things
Mm.
came up that I didn't think about the first time around. First time around when I was going through a study, I went through um, surrendering the secret when I went through my healing
Mhm.
journey. And I wrote the things, but I feel like they were very surfacey. I
Yeah.
wasn't at that place where I could go deeper. I hadn't had time in between where I started hearing other people's testimony and working with other women and men and hearing their stories and that whole thing. So when you write it for the second time, it's not like, oh, I already did something like that. What That's not going to help me in any way, but yet it does. And then even looking at the big picture, how those letters are used to help other people, that to
Right.
me brings further healing because I know that I'm paying it forward in a way that somebody could see that letter, read it, and maybe have the courage to um, reveal the secret that they've been carrying, and just saying, okay, God, I'm coming clean. You already know
Mhm.
about this, but this gave me the little nudge that I needed, the boost and the courage to just put it out there and come clean and be free from that secret.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so we want to talk a little bit about impact, Michelle, about the exhibit itself, because when you send your letter in and I do that original painting becomes part of a collection that we travel around and exhibit. So I want to talk a little bit about that because you had the unique opportunity
Mm.
to see your piece in person at the exhibit.
Mm.
Just in case you didn't know, we had the privilege and honor of showing our exhibit at the SaveOne Summit last year in Tennessee. And so Michelle came out for the summit, and she got to see her piece in person, which is not always the case because we
Right.
we get, letters in from different parts of the country, and not everyone is able to travel where we're going to be, or maybe they're not affiliated with that organization. But for whatever reason, God blessed you with the opportunity to be at the Save One Summit last year and see your piece as part of the exhibit. So, can you share with us what that was like for you?
Oh, Polly, just seeing you and Frank and then seeing the piece of Christopher, like I think I went home and text my husband, Christopher's on display, told my kids that he's on display. What
Yeah.
an awesome opportunity to see the letters, not of just my letter, but the letters of so many. And uh, it's a beautiful expression of how so many of us were wounded by abortion, but the letter just gives us an opportunity to recognize our children, bring honor and dignity to their name. They were
Yeah.
here, pull them out of the stats and statistics,
Yes.
and give them a name. And such a beautiful
Mm,
one. And Sheila's
mm,
was right up there. Uh, just it was such a beautiful. And you know what, Polly, I want you to know that the staff commented on just how beautiful the art exhibit was, to just for the whole summit. It was just a beautiful thing to see that, you know what, the work we're doing is so important
It's
because we're healing men and women, but also bringing dignity to our children that were lost to
yeah.
abortion.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. That's it. And thank you for recognizing that, Michelle. Thank you for sharing what you experienced because that is the goal, is for others to see that it's not a number as part of the overall statistics that we hear all the time, but these are real people who had
Mhm.
yeah.
real experiences, who experienced that horrible aftermath of abortion, and yet we're able to um, bring our children to life through the letter, through the artwork, by giving them a name.
Yes.
And I think that's the piece that really starts to shift like, wow, that this is a real person and a real baby. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that is the most powerful part of it. And, we just pray that people's eyes and hearts are open to receive that reality and really challenge their thinking, their perception about things. And, we just let the Holy Spirit do the rest of the work. We just show up where somebody tells us,
Yeah.
yes, you can be here. We just say yes, and we just let the Holy Spirit do what he does. And it's really amazing. Really, really amazing. And we thank you for sharing Christopher with us. And
Yes.
Mhm.
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, last year in 2025, we were at 11 events. So at
Wow.
11 events, Christopher was traveling around with us.
Right.
And so
That's right.
that's what's really cool about it. And we
Mhm.
hope to, repeat that for this year and maybe
Yeah.
even double it.
Sharing
Amen.
his story and sharing your love for
Yeah.
him and really honoring him along with all the others and
Yeah.
like Polly was saying, what you were saying earlier, Polly, is so true that um, the whole purpose of this is to just is those seeds are just being cast out and just
Mhm.
spread out, and we don't always see the result, but we're believing and we know that God is at work. And
Amen.
it may be next month, it may be next year, it might be 5 years from now. God's patient. He's never going anywhere. And we're believing that is just going to keep churning and keep nurturing and keep blessing and encouraging people to take that step when they're ready. And you're a big part of that. You are
Yeah.
the inaugural
Yeah.
person, the first person that said
That's
yes,
right.
and it started it. That's what started it. And
Mhm.
it's such an awesome thing to see where it's going. And it's such an honor and a privilege. And we're just so thankful that you took
Yeah.
that step and said, yes, I want to be part of this. It means so
Yes.
much to us.
That
Oh,
really that blessed me, Michelle, because I was like, oh my gosh, okay, if I paint my own, then that'll be two. And then if Frank does his, that'll be three. Okay, but you started it, and that really gave me the encouragement, like,
Sure
wow,
did.
maybe people really would be interested in this. So thank you so much, Michelle. You've been really a support to me, a blessing to
Mhm.
me, an encourager. When I was like, I can't, this thing is not going in, that whole thing, you were always just
Mhm.
such an encourager, and you continue to be a blessing to Frank and I. And we really look forward to getting to know you more this year. And
Yes.
let's see what God's going to do.
Yeah.
But what kind of encouragement would you like to put out there for people who are considering or maybe not sure if the tribute project is for them, if writing the letter is worth their time? What would you say to those people? How can you encourage them?
I would say, you know what? It's a process, but it's a beautiful process, a beautiful expression of something that the enemy meant for evil, and how the Lord could bless you by reconnecting with that child. You might have looked at that child in a certain way, but now that child can be a part of your life. So I feel like the letter and the whole process, the tribute project, is a beautiful expression of God's love, even when tragedy has happened. We can overcome him. Yeah, it's just a beautiful message of hope and healing. And it's a part of the healing process. I know it's going to be painful, but also there's so much redemption in it. So much
Yeah,
redemption in it. That child can become a part of your story, of God's blessing on
that's
your
great.
story as well too.
Yeah, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Is there anything else you'd like to share about the ministry that you're doing, about anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, just come to go to SaveOne.org, see what we're
Yes.
doing. We do have trainings for anybody who wants to become a chapter leader in their local area. We need more men and women who are equipped to help people
Mhm.
through the process of healing after abortion. It's not going away, it's happening every day, both in the church and outside of the church. So
That's
we
right.
need more facilitators to help us at
Mhm.
SaveOne. We have trainings every month. You can always go to our website and see all that we're doing there.
Yes. And as Michelle mentioned earlier, Save One is global. So we're in the United States, Michelle is in Canada. And when we were at the summit, we saw people who flew in from Austria and different parts of the world. So this is global that Save One is offering this training for facilitators, for chapter leaders. Whatever part of the world you're at, go to SaveOne.org, and you'll find all the information you need. Their trainings are happen pretty often. Is that right, Michelle?
Yes, every month.
Every
Wow,
month.
that's
Wow,
awesome.
every month. Gosh, that's great. So we will put a link in the show notes for Save One. And if you are in Michelle's area, you've got your picture there, and there's a link directly to Michelle. If you're in her area and need a Bible study to attend or have questions, Michelle is available for you. And so we'll put all those links up, saveone.org. They're an awesome organization. Jack and Sheila are just top-notch people. The
Great people.
facilitators, we had the privilege of meeting many of them that were at the summit, and wow, we had nothing but beautiful things to say about everyone that
Yeah,
was there.
great
And you
experience.
could see how the leadership has impacted. everyone there.
Yeah.
We were just like, wow,
Mhm.
25 years they've been at it, and it shows. They do things with excellence.
Sure
So
do.
thank you, Michelle. Thank you for being our guest today. We
Oh,
will put all the contact information. You can get a hold of Michelle or Save One directly. And we just pray that many chapters will come up as a result of this podcast.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesus, for being part of it and for showing us the way and solving obstacles that we come across, that you just pave a way for us. And we just speak a blessing over Save One and over you, Michelle.
oh,
And
thank you guys.
yes, thanks so
So
much.
great to have you, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Frank and Polly. I've enjoyed this time together. I'm so honored to be on your podcast today. Thank you so much for just telling others about Save One and
Yeah,
everything.
For
yes,
sure.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, guys. Well, we'll see you on the next podcast, and have a blessed day. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Whether you're on a journey of personal healing or seeking to understand the experiences of others, A Time to Speak podcast offers a space to reflect, grow, and be reminded that you're not alone. Join us next time as we embrace the power of hope, healing, and transformation that only comes through Jesus. To get involved and learn more about our project, visit us at thetributeproject.com and see how you can make a difference in the lives of others.